Alright guys, this week we are going to start a new unit on informational texts. So in this last unit in Seed Folks, we studied fictional texts. We were looking at characters and point of view, who's telling the story, and figurative language. How does the author use figurative language to help describe what's happening in the story? And in this next unit, we're still going to be reading a fictional text called My Side of the Mountain, but we're also going to be looking a lot at informational texts. So, when you talk about reading purpose, when you're reading something, you should have a very clear purpose for why you are reading it. So when you read fiction, something like Seed Folks or Harry Potter or Twilight, the purpose of those stories are to entertain us. You know, we get to know these characters and we see what conflicts they go through and how it's resolved in the end. So those types of books are to entertain us. In informational texts, nonfiction texts, the purpose is to give us information. So an example would be like your science textbook. It informs you about the different parts of a flower, or a newspaper that gives you information about what's happening in the world around you. So there's two very clear different purposes between fiction and nonfiction, and in this unit we are going to be both entertained and informed because we're going to talk about both types of texts. So some examples of informational texts are newspaper articles, magazine articles, encyclopedia articles, textbooks, consumer documents, public documents, and workplace documents. So you may be familiar with these top 4 types of informational texts, but you may not be totally sure what these bottom 3 are, and that's totally fine. By the end of this week, you should be able to not only tell the difference between these items, so if you saw a consumer document, you would be able to tell me what it is, but you also are going to need to be able to pull out important information from these different types of informational texts. But before we can do any of that, today we're going to talk about what these are, what is the purpose of them, and what type of person would read these types of documents. So, you're going to be creating a tree map in your BB, and you're going to put it in the reading notes portion of your BB. And then I want you to turn your BB lengthwise, hot dog style, so that you have the long, so your tree map can be long from right to left. And you're going to title your tree map Informational Text. Then you're going to cut out the squares of the worksheet that I gave you today in class. And you're going to glue or tape them in the proper place, and you will know what those proper places are as you watch the rest of this video. So there are 3 different categories: the type of text, the purpose of the text, and the audience, who would read that text. So for each tree map branch, you're going to put 3 different squares: the type of text, the purpose of that text, and who would read that text. So you're going to need to listen closely to the rest of this presentation in order to put those things in the correct position. So I would like you to pause the video, and I want you to get your BB ready and cut out your squares so that you can listen very actively to the rest of this presentation. Tomorrow in class we will check your tree map to see how you did, but you should have a marvelous tree map ready to go tomorrow. So go ahead and pause, and I'm going to go ahead with the presentation. So the first type of informational text is a newspaper article. A newspaper article, the purpose is to inform people about current events, things that are happening in the world around them. So your parents may have newspapers lying around the house. You may or may not have read some of the articles, but the purpose is to tell us what is happening currently. So newspapers come out every day telling us what is happening in the world that day. And the audience, the people who are interested in this text, are people who want to be informed about what's happening in the world around them. So on your tree map, the very first branch should be newspaper article, then you have the purpose, and then you have the audience who is interested in this text. Alright, the second type of informational text are magazine articles. Magazine articles, the purpose is to provide current and interesting information about a very particular topic. So just like newspapers, magazines are current. They come out sometimes once a week or once a month, but the information they give are particular to a certain topic. So for example, this magazine article would be for people who are interested in fashion, but there's magazines of all different topics. So the audience who is interested in this text are people who are interested in a specific topic and who want to be both entertained and informed. So if I like fashion, I am definitely going to want to read this magazine. But someone else who maybe is interested in music would rather be entertained and informed using a magazine article about music. So make sure your tree map is up to date on magazine articles. And your third branch is encyclopedia articles. So in an encyclopedia, the purpose is to provide basic background information about a particular topic. So the keyword there is basic. When you look up an encyclopedia article, you get just the skeleton, just the outline of information. It's not very in-depth. So the purpose is if I'm researching something and I just want to know a little bit about that, then I would look up an encyclopedia. So the people who are interested in this text are people who are doing research and just want general information about a topic. The next type of informational text is a textbook. So a textbook, the purpose is to provide in-depth information about a particular topic. So it's similar to encyclopedia in that it gives you information about a particular topic, but textbooks go way more in depth. So I'll have a whole book about chemistry, whereas if I look up an encyclopedia about chemistry, I'll get maybe a few paragraphs of information. So textbooks give me in-depth information about a particular topic. So people who are interested in reading this text are people who are doing very detailed research and need a lot of information about a topic. The next branch, the next type of informational texts are consumer documents. So consumer documents the purpose is to provide information about a product that was purchased or will be purchased. So a consumer is someone who consumes or takes in something. So if you purchase something, then you are a consumer. So every time you go to the grocery store or to the corner store to buy your hot Cheetos, you are a consumer. So the purpose of a consumer document is to provide information about a product that was purchased or that will be purchased. So any information that you get along with anything that you purchase is a consumer document. And the people who are interested in this text are people who have recently purchased something or are about to purchase something. So consumer documents. The next branch is public documents. Public documents, the purpose is to provide knowledge to people who live in a specific country, state, or city. And the information that they get is very important to the way that they live their life. And the people who would be interested in this type of text are people who need important information about the place that they live in. So public documents, an example would be like a law or a sign on the street. These are public documents. They inform you about the place that you live in. And our last branch are workplace documents. And the purpose of this text is to provide important information from an employer to an employee about their work area. So if you get a new job, the person who hired you is going to give you lots of paperwork about this new job that you have. So the audience who is interested in this text would be someone who starts a new job or needs to know about the rules of the place they work in or the rights that they have in this place that you work. So we'll go back quickly and review the different types of informational texts. We have newspaper articles, magazine articles, encyclopedia articles, textbooks, consumer documents, public documents, and workplace documents. So tomorrow when you come to class, you should be able to tell me the purpose for these texts and who would be interested in reading these texts. So if you do not understand one or more of these types of informational texts, make sure that you rewind and review your tree map so that you are ready to go in class tomorrow. So there is no Edmodo quiz today. I will know that you have watched this video when I can see that your tree map is ready to go. All right, have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow.